The Edmonton Oilers have made some, let's say, questionable moves over the last 10 years, whether it was trading Taylor Hall for Adam Larson, or drafting Nail Yakupov #1, or trading for Griffin Reinhart for the pick that turned out to be Matthew Barzal. There's been some interesting moves in Edmonton, we can all agree. But it hasn't always been like this. There was once a time where Grant Fuhr was between the pipes, Paul Coffey on the blue line, and at center, you know him, the GOAT himself, Wayne Gretzky. In this video, we are going to toss these three Edmonton icons into the 2019-2020 Edmonton Oilers roster and see if we can bring back greatness to the city of Edmonton. I could have went a lot of different ways here. I could have brought back multiple different forwards, multiple different defensemen, but I thought Gretzky because, well, Gretzky, that's pretty self-explanatory. I brought Paul Coffey because in my opinion, he's the best D-man to ever lace up for the Edmonton Oilers, and Grant Fuhr because he won all those cups with the Edmonton Oilers. So we start off the year pretty hot. You can see we're 10-4. Then we kind of start to trail off. Around 30 games in, Wayne Gretzky's leading the way with 41 points, and we are tops of the Western Conference, 19-10. So things are looking good. McDavid and Gretzky just tearing it up. There's always that age-old question of how Wayne Gretzky would do in today's NHL. I'm interested to see what you guys would think, but I'm thinking he would be still a very elite player, but I don't think you would see those insane point totals like you saw in the late 80s and the early 90s, but he's still killing it here. 62 games played and 86 points. Connor McDavid right behind him with 76, and Paul Coffey right on their tail with 63. At the end of the year, Gretzky had 121 points, but more importantly, the Oilers finished first in the division with 104 points. Now, I was actually surprised to see that McDavid didn't have a spike in points. I thought playing with Gretzky he would have upwards of 120, but that unfortunately was not the case. Grant Fuhr did his job between the pipes. Even though Gretzky's back in the NHL, he still loses out the Art Ross to Patty Kane by 1 point. Patty Kane had 61 and 61 for 122. Now going into the postseason, I have pretty high hopes for this Oilers team. However, we go into game number 6 with the lead. We lose game 6. Going into game 7, those damn Colorado Avalanche beat us out in round number 1. Not even Gretzky can help out this squad. Not even the great one. He had 11 points in 7 games, but he can't get the job done. You honestly hate to see it. I told myself I was going to sit here, do as many simulations as it took until the Oilers won the Stanley Cup, until Connor McDavid and Wayne Gretzky can drink a Molson Canadian out of Lord Stanley, and we start off insane. We finish off the year insane, 17-4. So I don't know what was up with the simulation, but we just completely took a dump on every single team that came our way. Wayne Gretzky lit it up with 127 points. Connor McDavid had one more point than the great one, so Connor really took over. In round number 1, we get rid of the Winnipeg Jets in 6 games. Moving on to round number 2 against the Canucks, and we just destroy them. We swept them. We beat them 8-3, then 10-2, which is kind of fitting because Gretzky scored more goals against the Canucks than any other team. Up in the Western Conference Finals against the Chicago Blackhawks, boom, made pretty easy work of them. Going up against Steven Stamkos and the Tampa Bay Lightning, we can put a stranglehold on in game number 4. However, they end up winning in overtime. Going into game number 5, we really put the pressure on. One more game and the Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions. A 4-2 lead. Connor McDavid has an open net. He finds Gretzky, and Gretzky misses the open net. Things you hate to see, but it's all good because the Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions, and it only took me 2 times. I was very prepared to be here for a couple hours simulating and simulating and simulating and simulating until the Oilers won, but fortunately for me, it only took twice. Poor Steven Stamkos lost in the Cup final again. Wayne Gretzky ends up winning the Conn Smythe Trophy. He lit it up. 22 goals, 15 helpers, 37 points in the playoffs. But here's the big trophy, the one that everyone cares about, the one that Wayne is here to win, the one that Paul Coffey came back out of retirement. So did Grant Fuhr. Connor McDavid hoisting Lord Stanley. Honestly, seemed like a pretty easy thing to do. You call up Wayne, call up Grant, say, hey Paul, you want to come back for one more year? Maybe go after that Stanley Cup? What do you guys say? One thing I thought that was kind of funny though is that in the Stanley Cup picture, Wayne Gretzky is hidden in the back. You can't even see him once the picture's taken. You see him and he's gone. You can't even see him in the main picture. You hate to see that. In NHL 20, there's a whole bunch of alumni players, and I'm talking a ton of them, and some unique ones as well, that we can bring into videos to make kind of these fun little 5 to 7 minute little challenge videos, like bring back the 80s New York Islanders, see if they'll be just as dominant in today's NHL. I think that it'll be a lot of fun to do these little challenges, so if you have any throwback challenges you want me to do in the comments, let me know and I will credit you with it in our next video. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.